Good morning. My name is Monique Ruffin. I'm your Moon Mama. Today is Tuesday. Tuesday is Mars Day, governed by Mars. So it really is a day to focus on, like, to see where we want to take action, where we want to put our attention and get things done. And the moon is void in Libra until 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time this morning, which is an opportunity to really go internal and see how your experiences with others are impacting your reality, the stories you're telling about it. So if you're, for instance, we'll take what's going on in the country right now, all of this gun violence and all of that. It's a conversation of how it shows up inside of us. Are we looking at it feeling helpless, hopeless, despair, victimized, or are we looking at it and asking, how have we contributed to this? What are the ways in which we have participated mentally, emotionally, spiritually? What are the ways we have been in denial? One of the things that I like to do is really ask myself, understanding that everything is, this American system that we have is, we are a family. We all have a collective agreement with one another as citizens of this country. So what we think, what we believe, how we feel, how we participate not only impacts ourselves, but it also impacts one another. But that's also a global thing. It's in the physical world reality with the laws and the things like that, the systems. But then it's also a spiritual connection that we all have as well. And the spiritual laws are not like the man-made laws, because if you see the American system, the man-made laws are tilted towards white, wealthy men. And spiritual laws do not do that. Spiritual laws are everyone is equal in spirituality. So one of the things that we're having happen right now is, for those of us who have spent so much time being loyal to this external reality that was built for the well-being and the prosperity of white men, and for those of us who have been trying to pursue it and believe in it and trust it, and it's the systems, it's the government, however we have interacted with that system will also be showing up in our own spiritual reality as a deficit. So if we have participated and been and thought well, as long as I get mine, then that will show up in your internal reality in some way. If we have ignored or acted like we didn't see the deficits, or how things were done unfairly, or the systems, and we've just benefited from it, that will begin to show up in your own internal reality. However you have participated in this real world American system is now going to be sifting into our internal reality, spiritual realities, because this system is coming down. So where we have invested our time, energy, resources in it, and we all have done it because it's just the way of it. We were born into it. No one is less culpable than the other. So we all have great lessons to learn from it. And the cost seems mighty, right? Lives are being lost, but lives have always been being lost in this country because this system was built on slavery. It was built on the decimation of the native people here, on the chattel slavery of Africans, and the gall, or the ability, or the willingness to overlook the humanity of another. And so where we have overstepped the humanity of others is where we will now experience that in our own consciousness, in our own lives, because that's how everything is. Everything is cause and effect. Everything, has a sort of cycle. Unless you're learning lessons from it, it's not that learning the lessons will help you avoid the cause and effect, but learning lessons will help you up level from the cause and effect. So if we've done things that are out of sync with harmony and the natural laws, we have to course correct that in our own consciousness so that we can then, align, so that we can realign. And if we're still here, it just has to be done or we suffer. So with that, it's not my intention to be like a naysayer, but I just really want to help us all learn and grow. One of the things when Barack Obama was elected, and let me just say that there is no president that's going to come into this office that's going to save us. Not one. I don't care who we elect. This is up to us as American citizens. The president almost is becoming inconsequential because we see that President Trump is breaking the system entirely. And I don't believe that it's going to recover from what he's doing. It's just the way of it. When something was created with such dysfunction at its core, it cannot continue to survive in the way that it's been functioning. So this system that we're watching, we literally are just going to watch it crumble. So the question becomes is, how do we want to show up now? How can we learn from what we have seen, participated in, been indoctrinated in, conditioned in, and supported consciously and unconsciously? How can we heal ourselves? How can we forgive ourselves? And how can we move ourselves forward? How can we progress? And one of the ways to do that is to, in AA and organizations like that, you have to make amends. You make amends, and the first place to make amends is inside of yourself, to acknowledge how you have participated, to acknowledge that you've been in denial, to acknowledge that you have been unwilling, to acknowledge that you have been blind, that you have been possibly greedy, that you have felt helpless, right? That you have felt guilty, that you have felt like a victim. One of the things I feel like is the greatest opportunity for Black people, I personally believe that Black people could save all of this if we would just wake up to the reality that we are not victims here. One of the greatest fallacies of this American system, that it has convinced Black Americans, descendants of slaves, to believe in the psychosis of this country, in the narcissistic purview of this nation, by pursuing the thing that is most valuable to this nation, which is money. And not that money is bad, but money in and of itself has no real value except that we give it value. So as Black people, it is our responsibility, in my purview, for me, I can't speak for everyone else, but to bring forth the thing that we access freely and offerly, which is spiritual wisdom, wisdom from the ancient realms, from other dimensions, from the cosmos. And we have been convinced that we are, that we need to prove who we are, that we are victims, that we have totally forgotten. We have totally forgotten who we are, that we are magic, that we are the creators of this reality, that we are, that we have the heritage of, the people who were the first inhabitants of civilizations. We have forgotten that because this culture has convinced us otherwise. So if Black people would just start to wake up, because of our relationship to the sun, because of the way we absorb the sun, we absorb the sun. Other people do not absorb the sun in the way that we do because they burn from it. So because we absorb it, we literally have a different way of communing with this environment that creates a level of harmony within humanity and the earth. And Native people knew that. That's why they communed with the earth in that way. Indigenous people know that. And so I just encourage us to all get curious about our individual roles and ask your heart, ask your soul, how can you participate in the healing and the restoration, not of this nation first and foremost, but of who you are authentically first and foremost. And then in that, there will be a ripple effect that impacts everything around you, including our nation. So with that, if you'd like to work with me and learn how to participate in ways to heal yourself, I would love to be a part of that with you. My name is Monique Ruffin. I am your Moon Mama. You can look in my link tree at my website, moniqueruffin.com, and sign up for any of my classes or services or anything like that. Peace and blessings, everyone. Bye-bye.